Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. I've been working on the reconfiguration of the train stations for all the smelting to take out the Q stations. That was done recently in the circuit area, and that seems to have helped the flow of materials pretty well. We can see that all the circuit stations are ready to distribute circuits, as evidenced by the green lights that are on. I did set up a couple of new mining outposts to keep copper and ore flowing. So I set up some outposts over here at what I'm calling number 8. I decided to try something a little different. And here in the case of copper, I've actually set up 2 pickup stations. Since the patch was quite large, I figured rather than have one station and the robots traveling a long distance, I would just set up a station on each side. And then as these miners mine out, I can gradually start to move the stations closer to one another towards the center. But right now this second station actually doesn't get a whole lot of action. We've got more drills than we need. The other thing that I did is I limited the size of the chest to 50 pieces of ore, because I didn't see much sense in having the chest just completely fill up. Really we're limited by our mining capacity more than anything. So this way, as long as we're picking up, the drills will keep running, and I'll be able to see more easily if I have enough drills or not. In this case, we have just a few drills that are idle, so that tells me that I have just a bit more than what I need. And then I have the chest, the requester chest for the train. Those are set to fill up. And then there's an iron patch up here, so I have the stacker actually going in 2 directions, as you can see. In this case, I didn't have room to put another station on this side. I wanted to make sure I had this rail coming down in between all 3 of those patches. Alright, so we're on mining productivity 40, so we're coming along. Yeah, and then eventually we can get into this huge copper patch as well. That's got 21 million. But I wanted to start with this one because this one's got 40 million. Even though it's smaller, it'll last longer because it's very dense. And then we have 18 million here, which is fairly dense as well. And then I did pick up a couple of the copper stations that had mined out. So those are gone now. I think the lowest number copper station right now is 5. Yeah, we got 5, 6, 7, and 8. Iron 6 is starting to get low. Let's see, how many trains do I have going there? I've got 2 trains. Yeah, and that's fine. These chests are staying full. So iron 6 is getting low. Iron 7 is doing okay. It started at 8.2. We're down to, 3.8. I guess we're down to about half. So I'm probably going to need more iron fairly soon. Let's see here. I don't know if I have any. I've got a few small ones here. Yeah, I don't really have much more iron within the walls that I can get to easily. Yeah, and this one is completely mined out now. What was this for? That was iron 5. Oh, and that's being used for steel. Yeah, that's bad. So we can send this one to deconstruct. Or actually, rather than do that, why don't I send this to iron 7? Because I do still need the iron. Alright, so go to iron 7 and then we'll delete iron 5. So iron 5 is gone. So the next expansion of the base looks like it's going to have to be for iron, and I think that could be this one here. All right, so I'll mark this. We'll call this iron 9, and that one is 39 million. All right, so that'll be the next iron patch that we hit. Iron 4 is still doing okay. We've got 5 million left there. I don't recall what that started at. And then we'll keep the station here to pick up the oil that we've got there. Let's see, what else? Yep. How about this one? That one's not too big. Yeah, we've got more iron patches, but they're not too impressively huge, unfortunately. We could tap this one, actually. This one that's 9, so we'll call this one iron 0. And we'll just roll over. That one's 13 million. I don't expect to have more than 10 at a time, so I think we can just, once we get to 9, we can go back to 0. That should be fine. That's 7.6. 4.5, 7.6. Yeah, there's a few more patches, but they're nothing too big. I would really like to get more like this one, or like this one, preferably. But we are starting to go some pretty large distances to get to these patches. But anyway, if we come and look at iron, we have no trains in the queue, but we do have plates ready to pick up at all 4 stations. So I think we're getting enough ore in now. Same for copper. Yeah, for copper we actually have a glut of supply. We've got 5 trains full of ore waiting to empty, and plenty of plate to be picked up. Let's take a look at steel. I actually haven't looked at steel in quite a while. Steel's running. Chests are full, so looks like we've got enough for steel. No trains waiting in any case. Okay, so over to the science area. I've made a few updates. Uh-oh, what's going on there? Looks like I lost a bot. Ooh, I've only got 2 construction bots left over there. Alright, I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. I may have to deliver more bots. Okay, so in any case, I set up a set of indicator lights just so we could keep track of what we have in the base. So the cyan light means that we're at or above the quantities that we set here for our train waiting conditions, and then it goes down to, to 0% from there. So we can see right now the space science is our lowest supplied item, but we've got more than what we need for everything else. So thus far, I haven't, or at least at this point, there's not a problem in terms of supply of the components we need for science production. If we look at our graph, I've got this filtered for the science packs. We can see that we're running very close to 500 for pretty much everything. Looks like the Hightech science is a little bit behind. Of course, that's a 1-minute graph. On the 10-minute graph, we're close to 500 as well. When I checked this recently, we were having a problem with blue science. That one was lagging behind. And when I came to look, I was seeing that the mining drills were not keeping up. And then subsequently I went over to the mining drills and I could see that they were mostly waiting for gears. And over here, The general problem is that we can't feed plate into the gear machines fast enough with this configuration. And the limiting factor, I think, is on the inserters. A fully upgraded stack inserter can move about a red belt's worth of material, somewhere around 26 items a second. So here we've got something that needs 8 plates per second if the crafting speed was 1. However, the crafting speed is 5.5. So 5.5 times 8 is 44 per second. So obviously that's more than what a single stack inserter can provide. So I left those guys running, and then over here I set up a different setup. And these are able to run almost non-stop. In fact, here they're slowing down just only if the bots can't deliver. Because we really need 2 inserters bringing in plate. Now on the output, let's see, here we get 2 a second on the output, well, plus productivity, let's say 2.4 on the output times 5.5, that is 10, 11, yeah, so one stack inserter out should be enough. I had this set up with 2, as you can see here, and with the overflow just going into an iron chest. Or not the overflow, but, you know, the handoff. Actually, let's limit this. Otherwise that chest will just fill up. Okay, so this one's blocked on output. But I set this up so that each one of these has 2 requester chests, and then this requester chest is emptying into this steel chest, which again should be limited. I think that's part of my problem here. Okay. So this way I've got the number of requester chests somewhat limited. So there are fewer points for the bots to travel to, which I felt was important for the bot network. But then I still get multiple inserters going into the gear machines. So since I did that, the miners are able to produce more happily. And as we can see, we're getting better output on the science packs. Alright, so our 10-minute graph, we're pretty much there. If we look at the 1 hour, the 1 hour is not so good. I had a long period where I was not launching rockets, and it took me a while to realize it. And what was happening, I came over here to look, and the problem was that there was no satellite. And there was no satellite because it was short on solar panels. Okay, it looks like we're about to launch another one right now. There we go. So we were short on solar panels, so I came back to the main base, which is where we make the solar panels, and I noticed that they were out of copper. So, you know, tracing our way back, because these belts were all full of copper, I wasn't sure what was going on. But what had happened is this point where I'm putting copper into the logistics network was previously over here, and it was only pulling from the top belt. So what had happened is this top belt had emptied out. These chests were empty, but the rest of them were still full, and the train was sitting there like it is right now. So I wasn't putting any more copper plate into the logistics network. So what I did is I moved that to after the balancer. So that way this will be pulling from all 4 of these input belts equally. And we shouldn't have that problem anymore. Okay, so the main base is looking good. Everything is full. No trains waiting. So I think I've got the right number of trains coming to the main base. And as you can see, the panels and accumulators are all chugging along at full speed. Alright, so if we go back to our production, we can see that the one that is lagging the most right now is the Hightech science pack. Let's take a look at consumption. Where's 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay, yeah. So consumption's at about 480. So they're not limited yet, but this will gradually drop down to whichever is the laggard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's all of them. Alright, so let's take a look at Hightech science and see what is slowing us down here. And it looks like it's copper cables. Okay, so here we need 30... We need 35 items every cycle. And we're doing... Let's see, that's... We've got a 14-second cycle with a speed of 5.5. So 14 divided by 5.5. So it's 2.5 seconds per cycle. 35 divided by 2.5 is 14. Okay, so we need to load in 14 items per second. So we're not limited by inserters in this case. But it looks like we are having trouble keeping the copper cables loaded. So why don't we take a look at copper cables and see what we can do there. Yeah, these are going to be output limited. So again, with a 5.5 speed in a half a second, so we're making 4 per second times 5.5. That's 22 items a second. So that should be enough. They are still piling up, though. So maybe what we can do here is... Maybe we can put one more machine making copper plate, or copper wire, over here on this side, just to kind of give it a boost. Let me put those logistic bots back in there. So let's do that and see if that helps. Okay, and then we can put a couple more beacons, I think. Oh, actually, I'm out of beacons. Let me go grab some. Modules, I'm doing fine. Yeah, 10 beacons will be enough. So let's just plop down a couple more here. Let's just do it with one. If this one is not running full speed, that's fine. Right, we just want to help a bit. If it's not full speed, it's not gonna hurt us. Okay, that seems to have helped. I don't see any more red lights at the moment. Let's take a look at our... Right, yeah, so on our 1 minute production, Hightech is now above 500. Purple science is now what's lagging behind, so let's take a look at purple science. Engines. Okay, what about you? Also engines. Where's the rest of my... Okay, the rest of my purple science is down here. Let's see if these are... Yeah, these are also lacking electric engines. So let's take a look at electric engines and see what's slowing that down. And that's missing the regular engines. Pipes. Okay. Alright, so it could be an issue with pipes. Let's see, where do I make pipes? We've got gears here. Pipes. Pipes are up here. Okay. And pipes don't take productivity modules, unfortunately. Okay, this is just having trouble keeping the plates rolling in fast enough. Okay, so why don't we try adding another pipe maker. And we can put that right there. And see if that helps with our engines. I'm gonna load more bots in the system here. We've got 2,300. I wouldn't mind taking that up to 3,000. Especially when trains unload. When trains unload, that puts a lot of demand on the system. Okay. So let's see how we're doing now. Alright, that's looking a little better. Still waiting for engines. Yeah, and I'm requesting 40 at a time, so... Alright. All the engines now seem to be running at full speed. Still not getting quite enough, though. All right, so let's go ahead and add. Let's add a couple more engine assemblers, and we can put those down there. A few more speed beacons. Actually, I think 2 more is enough. Okay. Yeah, so we've got close to 3,000 now. Alright, let's take a look at our numbers. Okay, that one is still the one that's lagging. Green science has fallen behind a bit as well. You know, I think the other issue here is that I built this for 500 a second, or 500 a minute, if everything is running full speed. And I think that it was perhaps a mistake to expect everything to run full speed. especially something at this scale. I think I probably should have added 10-20% additional capacity to everything. And then I could bring it down to 500 a minute by just limiting the number of labs on the consumption side. What the? Okay, you don't need these. I'm not going to do it now, but I guess that's a lesson learned. The next time I make a mega base, I need to scale up on the production side of the science packs. You know, because we have all these little stops and starts. These things aren't all going to be green all the time. We get pretty close. But, you know, if we hit 90% uptime, that's probably about as good as you might be able to expect. Alright, let's take a look again here. Alright, so we're hitting... What's 90%? Yeah, I mean, 90% of 500 is 450. So I think if we can hit 450 or higher for an extended period of time, then I think I will consider it to be successful at that point. So why don't we'll keep an eye on our 1 hour graph. Keep hitting bottlenecks. We're doing okay on power. We're up to 4 gigawatts now. Yeah, so we'll just keep this going. We'll keep an eye on the 1 hour graph. And I think once we've reached the point that we're hitting 450 an hour or higher on all the science packs, then I'll consider the job complete at that point. And then we'll start a new series. Okay, so we're still, our 1 hour calculation is still somewhat contaminated by that downtime I had because of the solar panels. I do need to keep a closer eye on that. But so far the rest of our supply system is going pretty well. We've got plenty of material. I mean, we're not even getting close to being low. Let's go over to the rocket base real quick and just take a look at what's going on over there. Because that is a big part of this, is keeping the rocket science coming in. And we can see that we actually just ran out. So we can go over there and see if we've got some opportunities to improve that area. Yep, iron smelting is full. I did add another train for science packs so that I could have one train waiting while the other one was delivering. That'll help speed things up a bit. Okay, looks like we're out of acid. Alright, and that's coming from over here. Ooh. We are out of coal. Okay. Well, tell you what, I'm going to go fix that, and I'll see you in the next episode, and we'll see how we're doing. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.